Meet Varg Vikernes. Born Christian Vikernes in February of 1973, he is known for two things. One of them is being the frontman and only member of the Norwegian black metal band Burzum. Vikernes founded it in 1992, and between the years of 92 and 99, he had a run of albums that shaped the foundation of multiple genres, including black metal, dungeon synth, and doom metal. His style blended aggressive blasts of metal screams with slow, churning riffs, and often dove into deep, fantastical ambient adventures. To call his works influential would be an understatement. But I did mention he was known for one other thing, and that thing just so happens to be a long life of murder, terrorism, hate crimes, and Nazism. Yes, Varg Vikernes is, by most any account, a vile human being. But his art is beloved by many, myself included. In this video, I will go over the troubled history of the Norwegian black metal scene and attempt to find how the morals of an artist affect the enjoyment of their art by different people. Let's begin. To begin with, what even is black metal? The website Metalhead Community says, in its purest form, black metal is briefly made of light screaming vocals and heavily distorted guitars and fast drumming. Also, it is known for really fast trem-picking guitars and fast drums playing blast beats. That song structure is often used to describe black metal, but we can't say every band uses its most refined form. Back in time, black metal originated from death metal, changing its dark, growling vocals to light, screaming vocals. Some people who started the black metal genre also claimed that death metal was sellouts that just wanted to play music and have fun, while black metal was supposed to be a lifestyle, not just a genre. While the pretentiousness of the early black metal artists can certainly be felt in this paragraph, the message is quite clear. The first black metal band is often debated, but the majority consensus on the founders of the genre seem to be the band Bathory. Bathory was a Swedish band formed in March of 1983. Their music was revolutionary for its time, though today most would likely ditch the term revolutionary and go with something more along the lines of unlistenable or even grating. In the early 80s, metal was Black Sabbath, Judas Priest, and Iron Maiden. Things like thrash metal were just coming into the mainstream with bands like Metallica. While early metal was surely punk and challenging the status quo, it still seemed to respect the average pop listener. Sabbath and Maiden weren't going to blow your ears out or make you want to throw away your CD. Bathory were, though. Their self-titled debut was like nothing else around. It was creepy, with these weird shrieks that would go on to define modern black metal. It was lo-fi. The guitars sounded like they were coming through a fast food drive-thru speaker. It was truly anti-everything that the world of pop music, and even metal music for that matter, was for. It was an absolute bombshell that basically immediately spawned an entire genre with very little help. It is also worthwhile to mention other pioneers of the black metal genre, such as Merciful Fate and Venom, who's the other band largely thrown around in discussions about who started black metal. Black metal may have started in Sweden, but where it has its most well-known and infamous roots lies just a little to the west. Even if you're not into black metal, or even metal at all, you've probably heard about the Norwegian black metal scene. Pioneered by bands like Darkthrone, Mayhem, and Burzum, this scene is once again defined by two things. One is the absolutely meteoric impact of some of the records from it, which are hailed as masterpieces to this day, and essential to any music listener trying to get into experimental and heavy music. Darkthrone's Ablaze in the Northern Sky and Emperor's In the Nightside Eclipse are two examples of Norwegian black metal records that have truly stood the test of time and proven themselves to be classics. However, as you probably saw coming, the second thing is not looked upon with such grace. The rampant trend of these bands being associated with neo-Nazi ideologies was so prominent that it has its own subgenre and Wikipedia article. Not only that, but a common activity for these bands to partake in was arson. They specifically targeted Christian and Catholic churches and burned several in the 90s. Modest estimates of the numbers say that upwards of 50 churches were burned by members of the scene. They declared war on organized religion, and in the process destroyed countless historical sites and erased centuries of history. And at the peak of the scene's depravity lies the man we talked about earlier, Varg Vikernes, aka Burzum. Not only did Varg participate in many church burnings, including the very first one that started it all, he was a proud National Socialist. And among his crimes is the murder of another musician of the Norwegian black metal scene, who went by the moniker Euronymous. For this, he was imprisoned for 15 years, and after his release, he kept steadfast to his Nazi ideology, and even was caught with plans to bomb a city square in Norway. Obviously, the history of Norwegian black metal is very troubled. Today, the National Socialist Black Metal, or NSBM list, curates all bands in black metal who have ties to neo-Nazi or otherwise fascist groups or beliefs. Still, many metal fans have a deep love for this music, myself included. Is this wrong? Should we choose not to listen to this music because of the crimes of the artist? Or should we be allowed to separate the art from the artist and enjoy the music regardless? This is not an easy question to answer, so I have gathered some fans of metal and other genres of music and media in general to discuss it. Enjoy! What? Do you listen to artists that you disagree with morally?
Yeah, I love 808s and Heartbreaks, but Kanye is something else, man. But someone that I listen to more regularly that I don't like, I listen to like 2 songs by them. Jank, not a great frontman.
Do you think that a person should be allowed to enjoy music from artists who are morally questionable or deplorable?
Depends. I think it's a person by person basis. If you can acknowledge that the person is messed up and horrible, but you still enjoy their music, and you do acknowledge and you have educated yourself that they are horrible and not a good person, in your views at least, then I feel like you can still listen to music. But for me personally, most, like 90% of the time, like if the person, the artist, has like just done something bad, it just puts a sour taste to the music.
Can you personally separate the art from the artist?
As I just said, 90% of the time I can't.
Do you think it's morally wrong to enjoy art by morally corrupt people?
That's a good one. I feel like the only way that I could see it being morally wrong to enjoy art by morally corrupt people is if the morally corrupt person gets financial gain from it, or some kind of monetary gain, whether it be popularity, money, or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they get some kind of gain from you listening to their music, then that's kind of not cool.
Yeah, that's on this one. What artists do you know of that you would consider morally corrupt?
I used to listen to McCafferty a lot, back in like freshman year, early middle school, and then I found out he was, you can bleep this out, a douchebag, like a really bad person.
You can say whatever you want.
He was a douchebag. It is a douchebag. To not just one, but multiple people. Kanye, of course. I feel like everybody nowadays knows Kanye. Yeah.
When you listen to music normally, do you think about the artist and their process or intentions?
I listen to a lot of instrumental heavy music, and I don't normally focus on the lyrics. A lot of songs that I listen to, they aren't... All art is influenced by its creator, but I feel like the music I listen to isn't more so from the emotion. It is... Yes and no. Musically, I do focus on their intentions. Like, what are they trying musically, as in, like, I listen to a lot of instrumentational music, and I don't normally focus on the lyrics. No, because all music has its, like, creator's influence in it. Like, the art you make is a representation of you as a person. But going back to the other things and relating, like, I can look past that. I can find my own enjoyment and own meaning in the music, because that's what art's about. It's about, yes, it's about the creator's experience and their perspectives, but it's also about your experiences and perspectives and how you can put that into art.
Do you listen to artists that you disagree with morally?
I don't think necessarily in music, because the music that I listen to tends to be, you know, like, your favorite artist kind of like become a piece of you, right? So if I were to find something that was that offensive to me, I don't think it'd be something that I would enjoy listening to in the first place. But I can tell you that, you know, this whole question of separating the artist from their art or from their behavior is really interesting, and it comes up, you know, in film a lot too. One of my favorite filmmakers has been Woody Allen, who everybody knows, you know, Woody Allen and his troubles, shall we say, but knows his background. But it was very hard for me when all of that stuff started coming out and being discussed in the open to sort of separate him from his work. And it seems like it's easier to do for some reason. I can't figure out why with certain people than others. Like, I could never watch anything that has to do with Bill Cosby again, you know, but with Woody Allen, maybe it's just because he was never convicted of anything. But I definitely, that question is superlative in, you know, theater and movies right now.
Do you think it's morally wrong to enjoy art by morally corrupt people?
I guess my answer to that would be only if the work itself was about something offensive or, you know.
Yeah. Do you think that music fans and media fans in general should be able to celebrate the classic work of morally corrupt art at least?
Well, I don't think we should. I think it's time to stop celebrating it and documenting it as a part of our collective history. You know, especially with films, when you can see even on YouTube now, the very first silent films that were all about, you know, Nazis taking over everything and propaganda films and stuff that was really, like, out there, right? But I think that, what was the question again at the end of it?
Do you think music fans should be able to celebrate the classic music of morally corrupt artists?
So I do think that, like I said, we need to start thinking of them as pieces of history that have passed. You know what I mean? These libraries who banned Huckleberry Finn, like, you need that portrait of that time, and that's the language that was spoken during that time. You know, But I do think it's important that we stop celebrating and start labeling them as pieces of history that have stuff in them that is not acceptable anymore, but would have been at the time. And it's important for us to understand that time as a whole.
Do you listen to any artists that you disagree with morally?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Do you think that a person should be allowed to enjoy music from artists who are morally questionable?
I mean, personally, I would say yes, since even with their bad actions, they still make something that's enjoyable to them. Surely their actions are incredibly bad at times and could affect, how they are, but they still make stuff that people enjoy, and if it's something that they like and don't disapprove of, it should be kept in some way, shape, or form.
Do you think it is morally wrong to enjoy art by morally corrupt people?
It really depends on what the person has done and what that art is really representing.
Now, what artists do you listen to, specifically, that you would consider morally corrupt?
Michael Jackson,
Any others?
Chris Brown.
When you listen to music normally, it doesn't have to be Michael Jackson or Chris Brown, but when you listen to any music, do you tend to think about the artist and their process or intentions?
No, I just mainly focus on if the music is good or not, or if it's comfortable to me. I don't really try and focus on the person's actions while I'm trying to listen to it.
Now, this one's good because you listen to Michael Jackson, so you're qualified to answer this one. Do you think that music fans should be able to celebrate the classic music of morally corrupt artists?
Yes, but in very specific ways. Maybe not trying to target specific stuff, but maybe just keeping it in a more positive retrospect, but still trying to register on what he's done, since those actions are still not valid and were very bad and corrupt to his, perspective for even doing that. But he still has done some incredible work that people should still enjoy and know about, and should, have the free liberty to like.
Do you listen to artists that you disagree with morally?
Definitely.
Do you think that a person should be allowed to enjoy music from artists who are morally questionable?
I believe so. I believe it's good to separate art from the
Can you personally separate art from the artist, or do you have a hard time doing that?
artist. I think I can do it easily because I listen to it.
Now, what artists do you listen to that you consider?
Well, there's Michael Jackson, technically like disco, minus self-indulgence, and same kind of things like that. Yeah.
Do you think it is morally wrong to enjoy art by morally corrupt people?
I don't think it's morally wrong as long as you know where the line is, because at least for me, I know that some music means a lot to me because of either the lyrics or who I was as a person when I listened to it for the first time. So I think as long as you can separate it and as long as you know where you're at, it's okay.
Do you think music fans should be able to celebrate the classic music of morally corrupt artists such as Michael Jackson or any of those kind of people?
I believe yes, but like everything else, there's a line. You have to understand that while they might have not been so great in music was.
Do you listen to artists that you disagree with morally?
Yeah.
Do you think that a person should be allowed to enjoy music from artists who are morally questionable?
Yes.
Can you personally separate art from the artists?
Yes. Unless they're pedophile.
What artists do you know of that you could consider morally corrupt? Which ones do you listen to?
That I still listen to?
Or that you used to listen to at
I
any
used
time?
to listen to Tokyo's Revenge.
What do you do?
He's a pedophile. I still listen to Kanye. I don't agree with what he says.
What's the current date right now?
The current day? Why, it's January 3rd, good sir.
Of what year?
2023.
So this is post-Nazi Kanye.
This is.
A little bit.
But I still listen to old Kanye. Graduation is a great album.
When you listen to music normally, do you think about the artist and their process or intentions? So like when you listen to like any music, not just like
Yeah.
Kanye. when you listen to that music, do you think about the artist while it's playing?
Yeah.
Do you think that music fans should be able to celebrate the classic music of morally corrupt artists? So do you think that it's okay that people still hold the early Kanye records in such high regard?
Yes, I have a graduation poster over my bed.
Personally, I think that it should work on a person-by-person basis. That is why I chose to include the answers of others and not just my own. Every person should be able to decide for themselves if they can or can't separate the art from the artist. There are some cases where I can, and others where I cannot. I don't believe that people should not be allowed to enjoy this music, as long as they acknowledge the horrors some of the artists brought about. I think that any art that has had this much influence and inspired so many great current bands deserves to be acknowledged somewhat. I also believe that everyone has the right to not listen to these artists on a moral basis, and they should not be criticized for doing so. Obviously, this topic extends far beyond black metal, so I do hope this video has given you some knowledge or a way of thought you haven't considered before. If you enjoyed, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. I'd also love to see a discussion about black metal and morality in the comments section. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.